I lost half my body weight and I didn't gain it back. Well, I gained some of it back, but that's because I went too far. Anyway, today we're gonna talk about that. Welcome to, or welcome back to PB with Jay. Here on the channel, we focus on all things plant-based goodness, from my own recipes, cookbook review videos. Everyone's gonna help me make dessert. No. Oh, and lots of other things, including informational videos like this, where I share my own personal weight loss story and journey and other things I've learned along the way on this crazy, weird journey. And apparently I talk with my hands a lot. So I've discussed my weight loss journey throughout various other videos, but people have asked me for a deeper dive into a lot of the topics I've touched upon there. So what we're gonna talk about today is how I lost the weight. Did I ever have a plateau where the weight loss stopped, and what did I do about it? What happened when I went too far with my weight loss? And what I'm doing now to maintain my weight loss. So if that's something you're interested in, stick around because this might just be the video for you. But first, I'd love to give some shout outs to some of the people who said hello to us and are part of our community. Jessica from Waterloo, Iowa. Jones from Colorado Springs, Colorado. Michelle from Las Vegas, Nevada. Sam from Los Angeles, California. Lionel from Gatineau, Quebec. Susan from Lincoln, California. Ju from the Netherlands. I think I said your name properly. I looked it up on a pronunciation website thing, so let me know if I didn't. And also Barbara and Ronnie from the Mighty Network. What is the Mighty Network, you might ask? Well, it's like PB with J 2.0. It's a community for people who want to take this to the next level. We have a lot of discussions in there. You get access to our videos early and a monthly members only live stream. So if you're looking to take your PB with Jay to the next level, join us there for the price of a crappy cup of coffee a month. Another way to support us is our merch store. This hoodie was actually suggested to us by one of our members. The links for both our Mighty Network and our merch store are in the description down below, but let's get into the content of the day. So before I talk about how I lost all the weight, I think it's important to talk about how I gained it in the first place because it's all connected. So there's a lot of things from my childhood that I think are connected to the fact that I was an overweight child and then an overweight teen and then an overweight adult. But one of the things I've been thinking about a lot is a rule we had at our dinner table that has stuck with me to this very day. And it was essentially, you have to clean your plate.
The idea that everything that is on the kid's plate must be eaten before they can leave the table or before they can have dessert or whatever. And we talked about a study which actually pointed out in the Journal of Pediatrics, this method of parenting does cause obesity.
Now, I truly believe that my parents were coming from a good place. I think they wanted to make sure that we were eating all the different things in the food group. So we were eating the vegetables and not just the potatoes or whatever the starch was of that meal. Maybe they were even trying to teach us about portion control and not taking too much food that we weren't going to eat.
A lot of times when kids say they don't want to eat anymore, it's because their body is sending them a sign that they've had enough to eat, and you're sort of encouraging overeating and habits that lead to obesity, and you're also instilling them very, very early on. So I think the whole clean your plate thing is a real big problem.
My mom used to give us that whole speech about how they're starving kids in Africa, and so we should just eat what's on our plate and be grateful that we have it at all. This video is not about the fact that our world has a lot of problems when it comes to the fact that there are starving people in the world, so I don't want to make light of that. But I was a kid, and I was just sitting at the dinner table, and the fact that there were starving kids somewhere else in the world didn't have anything to do with the fact that I was no longer hungry. And I was also a bit of a smart-ass kid, so once I responded with, well, then give them this crappy food. To which my mom responded with a bar of soap in the mouth. Because it was the 80s. And that's a thing parents did in the 80s. Let me know in the comments below if you were also the child who once learned the taste of soap by having the bar right in your mouth. For 60 seconds. Longest 60 seconds of my life. Look, I want to think that my parents were trying to teach me about balance and about portion control. But that's not what happened. What happened was that I learned that I needed to be able to eat more to be able to leave the table. And that idea of having to finish what's on my plate has followed me all the way through my life, even to today. That's right, I still have a hard time with this, but I'll talk later on in the video about how I've kind of sort of conquered this. a little bit. And it's funny because this like mentality about eating a lot is something that's really pervasive in our culture. There's this weird gluttony and this pride that comes with who can eat the most and the biggest portions. And I think it just comes to this mentality of, you know, eating a lot of food means that you're prosperous. Prosperous? Prosperous, that's the word. Or wealthy, or some other nonsense that doesn't really matter or equate anything when it comes to our health and our bodies. So fast forward to Jeremy in his mid-30s or so. I've got kids.
Who's that?
They're getting older, they're getting very active, and Jeremy's having a hard time keeping up with them.
Oh, well, that's a shoe.
So like most people who are overweight, I mean, I didn't want to be overweight. It just kind of sort of happened because of life. And I didn't really know how to lose it. My focus had always been on my career first and making that a priority above everything else. And then when I had kids, my focus was really on my family as well. It was almost like I was giving myself permission to not focus on my own personal health because that was a selfish thing to do. But when you have kids, your personal health matters a lot. It's basically the same thing as when a plane is going down and the oxygen masks come out. If you don't put your own mask on first, you really can't help those around you. And that's when it really dawned on me that if I really want to be a good parent, then the best thing I can do is be a good example for my kids and be healthier.
And then bring her down halfway and just hold her asymmetrically. And wiggle around, Annie. Wiggle around. Wiggle around. Wiggle around for your dad. He loves it. It's the best feeling in the world.
Because my wife was a vegetarian, I was already mostly eating this way, but I was a pescatarian. For those that don't know, a pescatarian is basically the same thing as an ovo-lacto vegetarian, but you also consume fish products. Or as a friend of mine told me, a pescatarian is a vegetarian who's a liar. It's still a funny thing. It makes me laugh. Luckily around this time, I started getting inspired by weight loss stories by people like Penn Jillette and Kevin Smith, both of whom famously lost their weight by avoiding animal products. And by reading their stories and their journeys, I came across people like Dr. Joel Fuhrman, which led me to people like Dr. Michael Greger, and then you've got everything from like Forks Over Knives, Plant Strong, and a million other wonderful things and resources that I found along this way. And so I decided that I was going to start eating whole food plant-based. I realize most of the people watching this know what whole food plant-based is, but for those who don't, it basically means that you're eating foods that come directly from plants in their most unnatural and unprocessed form. So this is fruits, vegetables, whole grains, nuts, seeds, and legumes. But it also means that you're avoiding animal products and highly processed foods. It's a lifestyle that is focused on wholesome, nutrient-rich foods for optimal health and well-being. I mean, that sounds like a good thing. Why would you not want that for yourself? So I decided that I would eat this way for 6 months, and I would also develop some kind of an exercise routine. And if after 6 months I didn't see any kind of a change, then I would just accept that I was meant to be a much bigger shape for the rest of my life. Cut to a month later and I had lost 10 pounds. And then another month later and another 10 pounds. And so on and so forth. I lost 10 pounds a month for at least the next 6 to 8 months. And then the plateau hit. So like a lot of people, when I started off my weight loss journey, I was using a lot of, kind of nonsense websites that told me like, this is the BMI you should be for your height and weight. And you should use this meter for your health and this meter and all these different things that told me the weight I should be or the size I should be or all the different things I should be to be healthy. So in my mind, I had a certain target weight that I should get to. And I wasn't there yet when my weight loss started to slow down. So I started looking at other things people were doing for their weight loss in addition to eating whole food plant-based. One of the things that I came across was intermittent fasting. Now at this time, I was still snacking at night. So the idea of intermittent fasting was a really exciting one. If you don't know what intermittent fasting is, I've done an entire video on that, which I'll link to in the description down below. But it essentially means that you restrict your eating to certain times, within a time limit. And that can be different based on how you want to do it. The way I did it was I decided I would keep my feeding window to 8 hours a day, and then my fasting period would be 16 hours. Sorry, I had to do the quick math in my head because not a math guy. Luckily, half of those hours I was sleeping, so that's not so bad, right? I basically have breakfast around 10 o'clock in the morning, and then I try to stop eating around 6 o'clock at night. And along with this, at that time, I got really serious about calorie counting. Way too serious. That's right, I decided to get nerdy and apply math to my weight loss. For those that don't know, 1 pound is 3,500 calories. Now that works whether you're gaining weight or losing weight. So I took that super seriously and came up with kind of a formula that would allow me to maximize my calories out, like exercise, and minimize my calories in. And I did this by tracking literally every single thing I ate. And I'm talking about like every single grape, every single gram. It was a lot. But the weight loss kicked back into high gear and I was losing 10 pounds a month again, which was awesome, right? I mean, sorta, but sorta not. At my absolute heaviest, I was around 360 pounds. And by the time I started my weight loss journey, I was around 320. The 40 pounds I lost was just from switching over to an omnivore diet to a pescatarian diet and just being a little bit more active because I was with someone who was also fairly active. So over the course of about a year and a half through eating whole food plant-based and calorie counting and intermittent fasting, I lost half my body weight. So I went from being 320 pounds to 160 pounds. Literally half the man I was. Awesome, right? No, not awesome. I went too far. The hardest part of my weight loss journey was that, for the lack of a better term, I got addicted to it. It was like a game. Tracking calories in and calories out and watching the scale go down every month. It felt good. It was like playing a video game and watching the points go up. I got to the point where I was drastically underweight from what I would now classify as my best weight. I looked skeletal. People thought I was sick, like dying sick. But I couldn't see that. I was just so proud of the fact that I had gone from a XXL size to a small. I would kind of brag about it because it felt awesome that I had accomplished such an amazing, wonderful thing. But the problem was, I got to that point and I was still tracking calories. It started to affect my day-to-day life because I got really, really anal about it. There was a breaking point where I was literally weighing grapes to decide how many I could have for a snack. And my wife finally just snapped at me, asking me when was enough going to be enough. Look at what I had accomplished with my weight loss. What was my goal? And it brought me back to my childhood where I had to finish that plate because I told myself I had to. And I realized that what weight loss had become to me was me also mentally abusing myself. And at that point, I knew that I had to stop counting calories, which became, honestly, harder than losing the weight in the first place. I had to convince myself that I had put in the time, I had learned the value of food. I didn't need a calorie counting app to eat in a balanced way. The truth is that I needed to regain some of that weight because I had gone way too far. But the problem is that when you spend the last 2 years watching the scale go down and all of the joyful feelings that come with that and that sense of accomplishment, when it starts moving in the opposite direction, that's a mind screw. And I'll be honest, it did a number on my mental health. It wasn't something that I was really all that comfortable talking about to my friends or family because I kind of felt embarrassed about it. I didn't want them to think less of me, and I wish at that point in time I had looked for an outside perspective to help me. And that's why I'm really happy that today's sponsor of this video is BetterHelp. BetterHelp is an online service that can help connect you with a licensed therapist. Someone who's trained to listen to you and give you helpful, unbiased advice. How's it work? Well, first you go to their website. They're gonna give you a couple questions to answer, and then they're gonna match you with a professional that has years of experience in helping people with struggles that are exactly like yours. The best thing about BetterHelp is that you get to use it in a way that works best for you. You can do it on your phone. You can do it on your computer. If you want to do one-on-one videos, you can do that. You can do phone calls. You can just message with them through text messages if that's what you prefer. Basically, you get to communicate with your therapist in the way that's most comfortable for you. After I took my quiz, I was paired up with a therapist within 48 hours, and that's their average in most cases. It's honestly the easiest and fastest way to find a therapist no matter where you live. And if you don't like the person that they initially match you up with, you can switch your therapist at no additional cost. It's designed for you and whatever will help you most in the comfort of your own home. You can use my link in the description down below, betterhelp.com/pbwithj, or when you sign up, it'll ask you how you got there, and you can mention PB with J there. If you do so, you're gonna get a special discount on your first month. I've been using my BetterHelp therapist to talk through what she jokingly refers to as my manopause, and she even encouraged me to make a video about it at some point. So if that's something you'd like to hear about, let me know in the description down below. Now let's talk about what I do to maintain my weight loss, and if I was to do this all over again, what I would do differently. I think the thing I've come to realize recently is that whether or not I want to admit it, I'm in recovery. I don't know that I could say that I was addicted to food the way someone might be addicted to alcohol or drugs, but I definitely did not have a good relationship with food. However, the problem is that I can't just cut out food the way that someone with a drug addiction does or an alcohol addiction does, because, you know, even though you might have a chemical dependency on drugs or alcohol, you don't literally need those things for your body to survive. I have to eat every day, which means every single day I am forced with potential temptations and things that can throw me off track. So to maintain my weight loss, I've had to change my relationship with food. I actually still can't shake that I have to clean my plate mentality that I had from my childhood. So the way that I've dealt with that is by using a smaller plate. By having a smaller portion, I'm consuming less food, and if I'm actually still hungry, I can go back and I can eat more of it. And that has helped a lot. I don't count calories, but I understand the nutritional value of food, and I strive for a balance. For example, if I'm gonna have a burrito, I probably won't include rice with it because I look at the wrap as being like the main carb and starch source. Or I'll forego the wrap and make like a burrito bowl rice type thing. I look at some of the things I ate as a kid, like we'd have, you know, a meat and potatoes kind of dinner and we'd still have bread on the side. And now I look at that and I go, well, that's insane. It's like, why would I need to have bread and a potato? It's like fulfilling the same nutritional need. Now that's weird for me. It didn't used to be. I've changed my relationship with food and also my understanding of it. Yeah, that two go together. The other thing that I have to admit to myself is that I have a sweet tooth. I like dessert. And the trick to that is keeping the portions small. Here's the thing you have to understand about desserts and treats is those things are not designed to fill you up. They're not meant to be like nutritionally filling. They're sweet. They're not the healthiest things in the world. And that's okay if you take a small portion of it. Here's also a fun fact that people don't realize is that after 2 or 3 bites of something, you actually stop enjoying it. Your enjoyment level just starts to peter off and go down to the point where it doesn't really matter what you're eating anymore. So if you have a giant dessert, after the first 2 or 3 bites, you're literally just eating empty calories because you're not getting the dopamine and the satisfaction of those early bites. So what I like to do is take a small portion and I eat it slowly. I seriously take longer than anyone else I know to take my dessert because I'll have 2 or 3 bites and I'll take a break from it, enjoy the company, the conversation, and then I'll have a little bit more. I take the longest to eat it, but I enjoy it the most. I still intermittent fast because I like the idea of not snacking after dinner. If I'm still hungry, I'll have some tea to help fill my body up with some warm water. And if I still have a craving after that, I just tell my body, you're not gonna starve, you'll be fine, and breakfast is gonna taste all the better tomorrow. Because I'm an adult and I know food is in another room and I can make the choice to not go for it. So, you know, just maybe be an adult about it. And I move as much as I can. I start off my day with some kind of physical exercise, anything from strength training to yoga, a little bit of light cardio, or just a big long walk. And then I try to have another walk in the middle of the day and another one sometime before or after dinner time. And if my kids or someone else asks me to do something that is physically active, I try to drop everything else I'm doing and do that, especially if it seems like fun. I know a lot of you probably hate the idea of working out or exercise, so find something that you enjoy. On one of my live interviews that I do in the channel, my guest Andrea Sharita made this excellent point that has stuck with me ever since. And it's about the idea of ignoring a goal weight and trying to figure out what's your best weight. My best weight is something I can maintain eating a healthy, balanced diet while still treating myself from time to time. It's the weight I maintain by being active, but also still allowing me to live my life. Essentially, it's the weight that I can maintain while living my best life and not going crazy about it. So that's what I would encourage you to do. Learn about the values of foods when it comes to balance and calories, but don't let it dictate your life. Let your body find its own natural weight by making healthy choices that you can stick to and don't feel like a punishment. You're not trying to get to a finish line. This is about creating a life that you enjoy that feels effortless to you. I really hope that this was helpful for you. Please let me know in the comments down below if any of this information stood out for you or something that you think would benefit others. And if you're in the middle of a weight loss journey and the mental health aspect is getting to you, please consider looking up BetterHelp to see if someone there can help you with your journey. It helps to have someone to talk to. Please like this video so that YouTube can share it with other people. And if you're not subscribed, please do so down below for more things like this and other fun videos that we do on this channel. Speaking of which, YouTube wants you to watch this one next. I have no idea what it is. They picked it specially for you, because you're awesome, and you deserve something special and awesome today. I'm gonna go make a cake now.